Good morning. Good morning. Let me get my stuff started up here. How's everybody doing? Let me go ahead and share my screen in Discord. Also going to put the link to the Discord in YouTube and vice versa. That way, if anyone's having any issues streaming it, then we'll go ahead and give you guys access to that. All right, so there we go. Got all my comments open. I got to make sure I push all the buttons and make sure I'm not muted everywhere. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Mr. OG22, how's it going, buddy? Good morning. It is Tuesday, February 10th. We've got 3 more days this week, and then today. So we're on the second day of the week. Yesterday we had a pretty decent day. Today we're going to have an easy. I don't want to say easy, but we're going to have a pretty clean day, I think, in terms of what we see in the market. So today we're starting with 628.67. Let me just confirm that. Okay. Every now and then Webull likes to take an extra penny overnight. Not sure what's up with that. It's some sort of fee. But it just throws my number off by 1 cent and it drives me nuts. I am neurodivergent AF. So anyway, my goal for today is to make $9.43, and I've got over $600 to do it with. So we should be okay as long as we don't allow, losses to pile up and work against us. So let's just go ahead and keep that open. We're just calling the shot ahead of time, and then we're going to go over here and clean out the watch list. So yesterday we traded CCHH. Actually took a loss on this one, a very small loss, and then it bounced after that, and that's okay. And then it just kind of came back and kind of held up the way that we kind of anticipated it to. But made the money on UOKA. Pretty easy set of volume-based trades there, and then it kind of trickled off after we got out, and then it's hovering around this orange box for today, and then it sold off. So no entry on this one. So I'm just going to move these off my list here, all of them. Just going to start fresh every day. Before I do that, I want to calculate my my daily amount. So we're going to take 628. I'm going to take up to 4 trades. So I'm going to divide this by 4, and that's going to give me a value of 157.17. So 157.17. So I'm setting that here, so when I push my buttons, it'll automatically fill this dollar amount worth of shares. Okay, now I can build my watch list. And as I build the watch list, I'm going to put it in the Discord channel where I put my setups. Oh, hey, Alan Park. He wants to help. Sorry, and then I will catch up on the chat. So let me just get through this part really quick. We'll get this rocking and rolling here. All right, so I'm just going to look at the pre-market list here and just kind of see what we got for the morning. So not too impressed with this one. I'll add it anyway, just because I always like to add the top runner here. It is a $31 stock. Yesterday it was at $17 when the market closed. So I don't typically trade the ones that are above like $10, $15, $20 during these market open trades, but we'll see what it gets. This one here's got a beautiful setup. I like the volatility on this. You can see it's just up and down, up and down. There's not too many gaps between the candles after like 7:30. But I don't want to trade something that looks like this because there's a lot of dashes and gaps here. So this tells me the volume needs to be present when I trade it, which means that I can have a pretty good time with it as long as I'm careful. ABP, that's one of our tried and trues. Also, it's in the perfect price range. It's about 250. I like this one. I like PHIO. This one's got a little bit of whipsaw to it. I don't really like that, but I'll keep an eye on it. It's got a great volume to market cap ratio. ECWZ, that is trash, or EWCZ, sorry, I misspoke. Stuff like this shows up on the list here just because it had a pop or some sort of adjustment. A lot of times if there's a split or a dividend or something like that, it'll show up on the list in the morning. ATXG is popping, kind of trash. It's got an 8-cent spread on the bid ask, so I'll add it just to keep an eye on it, but this isn't one that I'm going to jump into right away. I'm just seeing a short-term surge in volume, which means they probably just had some sort of news catalyst or something. So I don't really have to worry too much about that. NKTR is great in terms of price action, but it doesn't have any volume, and it's a $47 stock. So I'm not going to add that to the list. Pretty much anything below here is just kind of a wash. So I've got 5 tickers. That should be more than enough just to get something. So let me go ahead and chart out these levels really quick. So this type of stuff I'd like, but you're going to get a lot of levels that are very close together. So we have 2 choices here. We can only pick for the biggest ranges, like this is great. I've got this guy right here. And then if I just kind of zoom over here, because we want to be prepared in case it falls down as well. So I kind of got this guy right here, and then maybe just kind of shopping around a little bit, seeing where my levels might be. Yeah, I'm not really seeing a lot here. I was going to look for like right around here somewhere, but the only one that I kind of see is this guy, but it's kind of don't really like that. So we'll keep an eye on that. And that's just in case the price pulls back down. It's a 25-cent stock. That's more than likely in a lot of cases at market open. So I'm just going to go ahead and screenshot this one. And I'm going to slap it in here. QNCX. I'm just going to type out the tickers here. I put them in my alert channel there. In premium, ABP, PHIO, and ATXG. All right. So let's go down for EVMN. Oh, this is beautiful. I like this. So if this one can come down and we can hit this box right here, I think we might see a good little push on that one. And then these are kind of vague. I don't really like having levels up here. If I had to, I'd probably do this one. So I'm going to make that a transitory zone. And that's going to be about it for that one. And then we're going to pop over to ABP. So I do like this one. This one's pretty good. We like this one, but I'm going to go up in time frame on this guy just because we are familiar enough with it. Probably do the 5 minute. 3 minutes good. Let's go down to 3 minute. And I'm kind of basing that on just experience. You know, I just want to look for certain things and I see certain things in certain areas. So we're going to do that. And we're going to do this. It's beautiful. I like that one. And I'll put one there. All right. Little sanity test there. I think we're good. Go ahead and pop that one on there. And then we've got PHIO is the next one. I'm going to kick this down to the 2 minute. Sorry, I'm just kind of rushing through these a little bit. I like that guy. And I think that's about it. I don't really like that one too much. And then my last one here, ATXG. It's kind of it's kind of garbagey. So what I will do is at this time. All right. And then I'm just going to mention everybody. Okay. So if you are in Discord, I'll show you guys really quick what this looks like. You're going to see this channel here if you're in premium, and it's going to show the tickers at the beginning of the day as well as each of these setups that I just plotted so that you guys can open those up and keep an eye on them. So let me switch back to the chat channel so I can catch up on your guys' chat. We got about 5 minutes till market open, but I want to make sure that we've all got opportunities laid out for the day. So my day is going to be very simple. I'm just going to look for volume first. Within these setups, and then I'm just going to push my buttons and I'm going to have these take profits automatically sell. I'm not going to trade anything pre-market. We do have decent enough volume, kind of, right? It's like maybe I'd say a 5 out of 10 on a good volume scale here. But we don't really have a lot of diverse movement here. It's all just kind of consolidated into 2 tickers. So I'm going to hold off till after market open. All right, let me catch up on the chat here. Okay, good morning. Good morning. We got a bunch of my friends in here. Good stuff. Has anybody already done trading for the day? You guys already trade pre-market? No trade yet. So that's ones I'm holding. So far, so good. Good stuff. Out of office says I have a swing in cold up about 12% and a swing in AS. It's about 29%. Good. Yeah, you've been doing pretty good, man. And your goal, of course, you're a repeat offender. You post profits of $390 to $400 on a daily basis, and you walk away when you've got the profits, and that's the best part. It took a few years to get that consistency. A lot of focus, study, and exposing myself to the market. I've seen a lot of red at the beginning. Absolutely, that's all part of it. The goal is to get like you're going to pay the market tuition to learn stuff. So my goal is to help you get a discount by teaching you how to minimize risk, because that is the most important part. Because that's what takes people out of the market. You know, if you think about it logically, losses are the only thing that can take you out of the market. So focus on those. It just makes sense. Trade small first. Pookie's an incredible mentor. Well, you're an incredible student. I don't even know what you do anymore. But it's working for you. That's all I care about. What's up, Nikki? Good morning. Elizabeth is well on her way. Don't let her fool you either. Her and her husband, Junjun, are definitely crushing it. Most of my money is in buy and hold for retirement. Make sure that's, yeah, you've got a beautiful setup over there. I love it. I love watching him, and I think he's helped me a lot when I was first starting. Now, I don't know that I'm still learning everything. You're always going to be learning everything. I'll tell you that right now. I'm still learning stuff, and I've been doing this for a decade and a half. You should continue learning things. Not necessarily strategies and things like that, because that's a distraction, but you should definitely continue learning about yourself and about your psychology and how the market works, like the specific mechanics of the exchanges. Because once you learn that, then you can, this actually means something after that because you can tell what's happening. So we got about 2 minutes and 13 seconds till market open. So let's go ahead and just keep an eye on these. So these two are both up another 10%. EVMN is pulling down a little bit. PHIO is pulling down a little bit as well. ATXG is pushing up a little bit. Now this one I'm going to watch for volume. It's got an 11 million float, very few restricted shares, which means that if something like this can push and we get a good stack here on the ask, this one can turn around in an instant. But if it's pushing and it wants to push, we can make some pretty good profits on it in a very short amount of time. But it all boils down to getting in and out efficiently and watching that volume. So we got about 1.5 minutes. I hope everyone here is safe today. There's no, if you're not comfortable on a day like today, you don't have to trade at all. And disclaimer time, don't copy me. I want you guys to just watch, scrutinize everything I teach you. If it doesn't work, discard it. If you collect data because you like something I say, I encourage you to collect data first. Prove to yourself that it makes sense for you and it's something you can do. And then see if you can achieve the same end result. But I trade in front of you guys all the time. You guys see how I do it. But I don't want anyone to just copy me because that one trade could go horribly wrong. My internet could go out for all I know. I mean, that's happened too. So the golden rule here is when in doubt, we can get the hell out, right? Viddy, what's going on, buddy? Use Robinhood Legend. Do you recommend using Webull for managing trades? It depends on what kind of trades you do. Robinhood typically is more beginner friendly, especially for like options traders. So I like it for options, but I don't like it for day trades. I like Webull for day trades personally, but I also do very, very high momentum scalps. So you got to be in and out. You got to have an efficient interface for that. But the same concepts I teach apply to everything else. So you don't have to do scalps. I do that on live streams because it's easier to demonstrate concepts from start to finish. All right, let me switch this over to the 1 day, and then in 3 seconds here, the market will open. I'm just going to toggle back and forth between these two, and then that will be updating. That will ensure that the charts are updated. See how it's just white and kind of empty list there? I'll do it one more time. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to switch this to the day, and then I'm just going to kind of shop around a little bit. And I got my hotkeys set up. I'm just seeing where things go. Some of these are going to go up. Some of these are going to go down. I do like PHIO if that one can push over that box. ATXG, of course, is that volume momentum one that I like. So I think I'd like this one over 65 cents. So let me draw a line right here at 65. Well, around 65. And we'll see if we can get a decision break on that one. Going to let QNCX pull down a little bit. We got a 5 candle run to the upside. That is breaking. So let's see if that one wants to halt to the downside. Ooh, I would like this if it was bouncing out of a zone. I don't really like it here. ABP wants to push up as well. If that can get over this box, I think we'll be all right. Otherwise, I might catch it on the way back up off of this one. I don't see anything here on the ask side. So I think I'm just going to hold off on this one until it's ready. 270 is the break point on this one that I'd like to see. So I'm going to watch this one pretty closely here. And I'm watching these walls specifically. I'm looking at this 11, 12K wall at 270. That's what I'm going to be watching for a break of. So my eyes are going to be right here. I want to see fills come in at 270, 271. And this is ABP. You already done for the day? What'd you do, man? You catch a bounce on something? I just glanced over at the chat for a second. I was like, oh, okay, I'm done for the day. 2 trades at ABP. Nice. Out of this box. Both bounces. Damn. Look at that. Good stuff, man. Done. He's running away for that. Ooh, we got a little movement over here as well. All right. So I think I'm just going to focus on one of these at a time. I do like ATXG. It's a little bit more aggressive. I think at this point, if I can get over 62 cents, I might grab some. I'm really just looking for a decision break on this one. So I'm going to keep my eyes right here. Just got filled. So high risk, and I'm willing to add one more buy to this if I have to, but I'd like to just have it run up and hit my target. That'd be delightful. So I'm going to let that cook. QNCX obviously is just pulling back up, and that's okay. I don't have to fight with that one. And the next one here is going to be ABP that I'm watching for a break. So 260 up to 270. It could be a nice little pop. I'd like to grab it over 270, or I'd like to see it retest this box here and then push out of there with some intent. We get a little pull down here in ATXG as well, and that's okay. This one is volatile, and I've got that extra buy that I call out ahead of time. So we'll see if we get our pop on that one before or after it wants to pull down. All right, ABP is still not quite juicy yet. We're hanging out. We're being a little more patient on that one. I'm waiting for QNCX to halt. That is a almost 10% candle. Surprised that didn't halt yet. That is interesting. All right, so this one went down around 10%. So I'm waiting to see if it's going to go down any farther, or if it wants to pull back up. So I'm just going to let it hang out. In order to place the second buy, I need certain criteria to be met. So I need it to be down at least 10%. So if I see this position here, it's like negative 12%. Then I have permission to add, but then I need a confirmation. So I need a color change or a candle high break or something like that. So I'm not going to add before then. And that's usually where newer traders tend to hurt themselves, is because they add too aggressively. So we're just going to hang out, see what it gives us. I kind of like EVMN, but again, I need it to come out of this box. I don't really like it here. It's got potential, but it's got to bounce out of something with value. All right, this one here is down pretty good. So now I can look for a confirmation. And if it bounces up before then, that's okay too. I think I'll add some over there. I'm going to cancel this order right here, because when I add some more, it's going to put a second sell order here, and I don't want that to be around my average. So now I'm going to take the this here, and I'm going to add it. Oh no, I can't. I got to do a manual buy. I have too many things to click. What is this? 157.17, and then that's going to be here. So when this one wants to pull back up, then I can hit my buy order manually above this line right here. So let me place my thing there. And as bloody as this looks, it's still just 5%. So I'm not too worried about it. You know, a lot of people freak out when they see that, but it's okay. It's not super chaotic here. This one here is it is punching in the box, but I'm going to wait till I break over 270 on this one. As much as I like this volatility, I just don't like having it bounce back and forth so much. It needs more volume. If it had like a ton of volume, I'd be more comfortable with it. But right now, it's just kind of meh. PHIO entering the box. ATXG still just kind of doing its thing. I think I might add my second buy here in a second. I'm waiting for it to get over the line. Ideally, we get a candle close. Like, I'd like to see a candle close below the line, and then I can use the high of the candles. But for right now, it's just kind of hovering. So I'm going to hold off a little bit until I see it show me what I'm looking for. You got your 2.25%. Good stuff, man. And you're just done for the day, running away. I love it. All right, QNCX, I don't trust this up here. So we'll hold off on that one. I'd like to see a higher validated low on this one. So we're going to wait. This one is juicy, though. I do like the potential, but it's just got to get some sort of reversion going. EVMN didn't poke into the box yet, so I'm going to wait for either a break over or a break down and then a break out of that box. That's the only two setups I can see on this one. I don't want to jump in this one prematurely and have a failed bounce and then have it pull down harder and then force a stop out. ABP is not holding this range as well, so I'm going to hold off on that one. And the reason I'm not adding to ATXG, by the way, because a lot of people would be tempted to buy like down here. If I do have to cut this, like if this just continues going down, I'd rather just take the loss on this first buy and not add the second part. And just if I add more to it without a good reason, then I'll just end up taking a bigger loss. So there's no point in doing all that. So I'm only down 5%. It's okay. I'll just hold off and see what it gives me. And then PHIO is through the box as well. So this one, like another level right here I can draw, but I don't want to touch that. It's got to go up. So for QNCX, we're starting to get our pullback. Now I wonder, I don't want this to halt. necessarily. I'd like to see it pull down, but I don't really want to see it halt. Yeah, I'd like to just see a buy up on this. That'd be pretty cool. The volume has slowed down though. Not a huge fan of that. I'd like to see that pick up. Normally this would be rock and rolling at this point. Now we got a good mix there. We got good magnitude, but we don't quite have the speed that we should expect to see. This one here, I'm going to get ready to place my second buy. All right, so I placed my second buy here on ATXG, and I'm going to let that run. Ideally, it goes to the upside. That'd be nice, but we'll see where it goes. And then QNCX now, now that we've had a little bit of a wick here, we've got a little bit of pullback here. This is where I can start looking for a buy up for continuation on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and look for over 30.40. So right there, I'd like to place a buy for continuation on this level. All right. So now we're just waiting, and I'm going to use a market fill order on this one. And it's got to get through this wall at 30.40. Are we buying Coke today? No, I'm not buying Coke. You can buy Coke and you can buy Johnson & Johnson today if you want. What do you like about Coca-Cola? Or are you, I hope you're talking about the stock. I hope. Haven't seen you in a little bit. I'm talking to Satan Donkey on Twitch, by the way. Hope you're doing well. I heard you had a little bit of an account issue. Your security situation there. Is that accurate? All right. And again, now this is pushing. That's good. This is what I like to see. 30-40 wall is gone, but I don't see it moving up just yet. So I'm going to hang out for this one just a little bit. The time and sales has slowed back down a little bit, so that's interesting. So I'm really just waiting for that to rip. I'm going to go ahead and take my buy on this one right here. Obviously high risk, so I got to be very careful. And since this is the top runner of the day, I'm also comfortable adding one buy if I have to, but not at least until it comes down to here if it wants to. So I'm just going to place my seller over here and let it push. And that's all I want to do with this one. I don't want to have I don't want to put too much money right here, especially near the top. So we're taking a little bit of drawdown on, it looks like ATXG is pulling down pretty hard. So I might end up just taking a hit on this one. I don't want this to halt, which it probably will. Actually, I'm kind of surprised it didn't at this point. It is weird, but that's okay. We're in a pretty sizable position, so it's going to look ugly. I might just take a, nope, no more on that one. So I don't know what just happened there. That was super ugly. And I held that a little bit longer than I was comfortable. But I'd rather just take the hit now and get out of it because I don't know. Like, I don't care if it pulls back up and I don't care if it goes farther down. I don't want that coming down to here and then make the decision there. So that sucks, but we can make that back. I'm not too worried about that. But that is it's a pretty sizable hit for that kind of move. So that's kind of worst case scenario there. So we're going to make that back. We're still up, pretty good. And we're just giving some profits back and, it happens. But we're not going to get emotional and we're not going to try to revenge trade because that's how you lose more. So mixed Q4 results for Coke. Okay. So you're trading the earnings on it. Working and recovering. Probably bad to use the same password for 19 years. Oh no. Well, I mean, you could if you wanted to. All right. So we tagged our fill, our target here, but we didn't get our fill. So we'll have to hang out on that one a little bit more. And I still have one buy left. I could do this one, but we'll see. Elizabeth says, so can you talk about ABP? When you do that, it starts going up. Let's look at ABP. Oh yeah, look at that. That is nice. Still going to wait till it gets over 2701 or 270.01. And then I'll just place my second buy here on this one. It's got to get over this. Like, it's got to clear all that. but I might hold off on this one because I'd rather trade QNCX. I'd rather put my second buy over here if I have to. So let me get that order prepped, and then let me just check something real fast. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure I got, let's keep track of the numbers here. All right, so I got this order queued up here just in case it wants to come down and bounce off of this box. If not, I got my target up here and it'll sell. But if I have to place my second buy, I want to cancel this order, and I don't want to use the hotkeys to get in, because if my, let's say I place a second buy down here, my average will come down to about here, but my second buy will have a sell order right here. So I don't want that to autofill immediately. So we'll hold off on that one. Yeah, I don't know what happened with ATXG. That was brutal. So sorry if anyone got stuck in that one. I'm actually surprised that didn't halt, because that was down like 30 or 20 some odd % before it pulled back up. That was crazy. But it is what it is. You know, that kind of thing can happen, especially with these low float trash guys. So we're going to see some volatility, unfortunately. I'm going to hold off on this one. But normally I would have just placed my buy right there above 270. So I'll hold off because I want to trade QNCX when it comes back up. So it's, again, it's kind of just one of those really sketchy days. So I guess it would also help if I paid attention to it. That was down a little bit. All right, QNCX doing a little pullback here. It looks like it's starting to show a little bit of a buy up, but it's not, it needs volume. Like they're just, it's not ready to turn around just yet. I do see a good bid setup. Good ask setup here, 32.33, which is up here, right where my target is. So we'll see if that pulls it up. We got this bid side here that's kind of pulling it down at 28. So let me draw that line there. And that is going to be the next level of contention. And then we got one at 27. So let me draw that as well. Right there. All right. And then what is ABP doing? Did that one push up? Yeah, it went up a little bit. So this one, if we did trade it, we would have got in here. We would have got out somewhere up here. It's like 5% up or something like that. I have a 6% target, but generally we just seek like a 1.5%, 2% target. So we would have taken the quick hit on that one. QNCX as well. If I wasn't seeking aggressive targets, I would have been out already. And then I think over here on ATXG, I think this is the only one where I wasn't net profitable at any point. Actually, what was my average on that one? 30.54, 52.71 is where I bought. Oh no, that's my second buy. What was my first buy? ATXG 62.12. Okay, so 62.12. Yeah, so I got that right here. So I wouldn't have had any profit opportunity on that one. On that first buy, normally we see at least like a 1.5%, 2% take profit there. But since I'm trading a little bit more aggressively on this account, I'm shooting for a bigger profit range, which means I end up staying in them a little bit longer. And I kind of, you know, sometimes obviously that works against me because I have to build a position down. So. But in that case, there was just no, there's just no opportunity there. I think 62.12 was, it was like 0.15 cents or something. It was right below the high there. So we had just kind of an alignment of inefficiencies there, but that's okay. Makes for good content. I get to show you guys what could go wrong. All right, so we got our range here. We got our range that's established by the order book on QNCX. So we're just waiting for a break out of that range up to our 32, 33 cent target range. If it wants to go up, if it wants to go down, then we come down to here and then we look for a confirmation back to the upside, lower the average, and then we just repeat the same process. So it looks like we're breaking to the upside so far, but it needs volume. It's got to get a ton of volume. And then ABP obviously is is pushing higher again. So that'd be a good good box to box area there. And I do like this one. I'm just choosing to trade. I got to keep the cash set on the side for QNCX, even though this is a really good opportunity. I want to keep the cash over here just in case we come down here. Now, if this one wants to play out, then I can come back over and I'll have my second buy freed up so I can trade something with a tight stop. But the way that I'm trading this, I want to keep that money set aside for the other trade. So, and this right here is, this is why we don't want to hang on to stuff. Like if we see the bounce, the pull up and all that, we're like, hey, it's going to come back to my break even. Sometimes it does, but that's pretty rare, especially with these low float trash stocks. The best thing you can do in most of these cases is just cut it and then not care. Like you can't care about these because this one, if it wants to come all the way down to like 10 cents, then you'd be glad you weren't holding it. The only time we regret cutting a position for a loss is if it bounces back up and goes higher. So we don't have access to any information in the future. So we have to make this decision based on what we see. And in this point, it was all blood. So I'm not going to regret that at all. But this also is why we decided to cut those. Like that is way too much blood. So, but we know we can make, $100 back pretty easily with just consistency. So I'll pull up my spreadsheet and I'll show you guys that in a little while. But I want to see how this is going to play out here first. EVP is still pushing. Again, just a quick box to box. Looks like that's probably going to push over 3. Maybe not. You got a local high at 297, and then you've got price action over 340 from pre-market. So is that pre-market or last night? Yeah, early market. So nice easy range on that one. It's just not the one that I happen to be trading. I happen to trade ATXG. I happen to trade QNCX. I just didn't trade this one because of the timing. It just didn't line up with my specific preferences. But you very easily had your opportunity there if you wanted to trade that one. I just didn't. The doctor says little 5 candle, little 5 CR entry and 352 out today. Nice. What were you trading? Very happy with small little gains. Absolutely. Good stuff. Nice reset from last week. Oh, M2K. Okay. All right. Okay. Good stuff. But you're in and out. You got your gains. You're walking away with a bird in the hand. That's good stuff, man. I like it. Oh, Elizabeth, which one are you in? You're still in that one that is going to stress me out. Oh, you mean PHIO? Okay. I like this one. It didn't break out yet. Like there's no, like you had so here's how it works, right? You've got the box, okay? You've got a breach of the box, and then you can, like, as soon as this breaches, you can put your level in, right? Yeah. If we were to just walk through this. Then you just follow the candle highs down until they break. So I'm assuming you got in right here at 129. And then you can put your stop loss right below that entry candle. Now, if that was the entry, it still has to get through this range, and this range is a consolidation range. It's got to compress and release. So we don't know if it's going to go up or down, but we know that we've got a low entry, and we know that we've got a tight risk range of 5 cents per share, if that was our entry. So that means that we can calculate a quick 1.5, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah % target. So from that entry, you would have probably hit almost 3% so far. So 2% take profit for most of the shares. And then your stop loss is down here at 5 cents. So it's a risk, right? If you want to do a disproportionate risk reward. Otherwise, you can just hold it and let it play out a little bit longer. And then if it goes up, it goes up. If it goes down, it goes down. But at this point, you would have had your percentages for at least most of the position, then some runners if you wanted. You're in at 133.5. Okay. So you got in right when it, I assume right when it pulled out of this box, maybe on this guy or this guy. Like one of these two candles, maybe. Okay. And that's okay too, right? You're trading it when it pushes into the box and pulls back out. The trick there is where's your stop loss go, right? Because if you enter here, Well, you said you entered at 133.5, so you're probably down here somewhere, right inside the box. Then your stop loss being down here potentially, that's okay. You know, it's just a little bit wider of a risk range. So now you got to figure out where you're going to take your profits. You just hit your take profit, okay? So now, right, when you're trading these kinds of things, there's an easier, or I shouldn't say an easier, but there's a more mechanical approach that you can take when it comes to these boxes. If you want, you can just look for the high of the candle that breaches it, and then just follow those highs down until the risk range is acceptable. And then once it's acceptable, then you can take your entry, and then you can put your stop loss below the low of that entry candle, and then you've got uncapped profit potential, but your risk is nice and defined. And if the risk range is too big, like let's say this candle was all the way down to here, that's a huge risk range. You can always cancel or move it up to a different candle's low or something like that. So I hope that makes sense, but that's the approach I like to take with those. And you can see here, obviously it's bouncing out of that box with some strength. So we'll see if that's strong enough to push over that new high. That would kind of be the target for the runners, would be like just inside or just beyond that. But either way, when it starts to get up there, we move those stops up and just cap it if it wants to, if it wants to slow down. Got your 1.7%. Good stuff. It's because I was talking about it. It went up. There it is. Yeah, if you guys want stocks to pump, unless I'm in it, just tell me to pull it up on the chart and we'll look at it. Ooh-wee. Yeah, ABP. Look at that. Look at that violence. Good, good. Yeah, it's a whipsaw day. Like we're going to see a lot of violence on a lot of these stocks. You could see even QNCX, the volume is just pulling down. So it's going to be sketchy. And obviously this one put a little bit of a dent in the portfolio, and that's okay. You know, we can offset it. We went from what, 5% down to 20%. So not super thrilled about it, but I'm not upset either. You know, it happens. But the main point here is that it could be just, we can make it back pretty easily. QNCX here is starting to push to the downside of that range. So finally, we're starting to see some sort of movement out of this range. We had a little bit to the upside, a little bit to the downside so far. So just kind of hoping it'll come back here, and then we can use that box, the lines, and then we'll just see if we can get our second buy on that one. Otherwise, we're just chilling. PHIO is just kind of hovering a little bit. EVMN is kind of just clinging to the box. So a lot of these, just the volume kind of ebbed out, which means that they're kind of flocking to other stuff. But these are still in the top 3, you know, so it's just overall market pullout. This one right here is a beautiful one. We've got a 5 candle run into and below a box. So let's just follow these down, and we'll follow this one along as well. So this would be the entry. That would be the take profit. I'm not trading this, obviously. We're just going to follow this along for data. Now this risk range is a little big, all things considered. It's 4.45%. So we can always pass on that or apply something like the 1% rule. That way we don't overcommit to a loss. Because, you know, these can go up, down, or sideways at any time. So if this one wants to bounce, now's the chance, because we've broken that series of lower highs and we're in an area of high potential violence. So we want this to happen. So if anything other than this happens, we can always just get out. So that's what the stop loss is for. So it looks like QNCX is pulling down a little bit more with some strength out of that box. So let's see if we want to come down here and hit our range here. I'm going to put a line right here at 32.20 as well. Oops, 0.3220. And that's going to be kind of my default take profit. The reason I'm putting a line here is because if I have to place my second buy, I'm going to have to cancel this order here, and I'm not going to use my hotkeys to place that buy. So I've got this guy pulled up. So I don't want the shares to be tied up by an existing seller if I have to exit. Because then I'll have to, like, I'll only be able to sell like a number of the shares, and then I'll have the other 512 just tied to this. So getting rid of that, but I'm not canceling the order yet until we come down to this box and I'm ready to place my second buy. because this could, it could pull up at any time and just go to hit target, and it is what it is. I don't want to lose the level just because I was anticipating. Let's just keep looking at these. So ABP looks like JZXN just kind of came in and stole all the volume. So that is currently halted. It halted at 9:55.49. So we've got another 3 minutes on this one before it unhalts. So let's see if we get our move on QNCX within that 3-minute period. Yeah, JZXN just came out of nowhere. Just murdered everybody. So at 10 o'clock, 10 hours, 0 minutes, and 49 seconds. So another 4 minutes roughly, or 2 minutes, please. That will be unhalted. So this basically qualifies as a power play for all the other stocks until then. Bull, do you know if there's what the catalyst was on this one? Was it just a weird thing? I don't see anything on here. Anything on here? Oh, we like JZXN. It's trash though. Like it's not. Okay, yeah, I don't see anything else there. These are not stocks that we're looking to invest in. We don't really care too much about the underlying if we're just trading the volume. But we can assess the quality of the catalyst to determine the likelihood for continuation across sessions. So if some stock runs really good today, we can always trade it tomorrow, for example, if it's a good one. They are announcing a $40 million commitment from crypto investment institutions. That's a fluff headline. Interesting. What's their market cap? 3 million. Yeah, I don't. Ugh. I'm going to point to something right here, right now. See that? China. I don't trust that headline. I trust the volume, but I don't trust that headline. Scary. All right, so we're still hanging out. I still got my other buy set aside for now. Just kind of figuring out what QNCX wants to do. If it wants to come down and then show me a confirmation at one of these two ranges, I'll place my second buy and I'll lower my targets. Otherwise, I'm not going to jump into other trades, even if we see opportunities, because I don't want that money to be spoken for. I want to keep it set aside for this trade until it's done. Once it hits target or I decide to cut it, then I'll just free up that second allocation and I'll use it for something else. But that's another trap new traders tend to fall into when they start like trying to average stuff down, is they'll get into something and they'll have cash set aside for it, and they'll be looking for an opportunity to add to it. And then they'll get bored or impatient, and then they'll go look around at other stocks and be like, ooh, opportunity. And then they'll just use that money for that stuff. And then this one just doesn't stand a chance at that point. And then they're down a bunch, and then they can't do anything about it, and they take a bigger hit. All right, so PHIO looks like it's getting some juice. I love this setup here. This is a nice dense order book. It's a little stacked heavily here on the bid, though. I don't like that. I don't like a lot of that bid presence. On like a higher volume day, I wouldn't mind, but today is super sketchy. So I don't think that would be, I think it just wouldn't be a good confident entry. Who that? Literally, I need somewhere to put my 70 hours other than my own ideas. What do you mean? What do you mean hours? What does that mean? All right, JZXN's unhalted. I guess it unhalted like a minute ago. I just wasn't paying attention. All right, looks like we're kind of hovering a little bit. So this one, you got to be careful with these too, because they can unhalt on the way down, right? You got to be very, very careful with Chinese stocks. Like HK, for example, you just pull that one up. Oh, Yeah, they must have delisted. Dang. Oh, well. Anyway, that stock had a history of doing these kind of big moves like this, hundreds of percentages, sometimes 1,000. And then it would just immediately sell right back down, like within the same day. So you just see these giant wicks on those charts. It was not a good time for anybody. All right, so this one's pulling down a little bit. Let's see how that's going to impact ours, if we'll get our bounce, or if we're going to come down and test this zone. Got a little bit of a flutter going on here. But again, it needs volume. That's the missing ingredient for all these tickers right now, is just volume. So JZXN just coming in here and swooping up a quarter of the volume for the day, and then ABP getting a good chunk of it, but not moving up. That just kind of slows things down a little bit. It's a nice 5 candle. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, potentially 8 candles here with lower highs. That is sketchy. So Elizabeth, I'm glad you got out of that. Remember, that's why we got to keep those targets nice and tight on those. Not every stock is worth adding to. It'd be nice if that can break, though. So for something like this, right, we've got a level right here that we can watch. And this would purely be for a reversion bounce. So in this case, we could draw a fib. We can identify our 25% range. So that would kind of be the trade. Now, is that? That's 3%. So that'd be a good opportunity for a 3% potential. And you did break over the high. So let's see if that actually happens, or if it just is too strong and just continues to move to the downside, which could happen, right? So that 25% pullback hits 90% of the time, but there's still that 10% where it just doesn't. And that's kind of what we saw here in ATXG as well. Like that one should have absolutely bounced back up, but what we saw isn't what should have happened. So that's why I just decided to cut that one. Just can't trust them. And you can see all these are just kind of pulling down. So once they start to deflate, things get pretty sketchy in the pre-market to market conversion. And if you don't catch these little pops and get out, then you're just kind of in limbo for a little while on these lower volume days. Once the volume comes back in, it's great. But until then, you're just kind of stuck watching paint dry. And that's where you don't want to just push a bunch of buttons and put your money in every location you can find. That's kind of what the market wants. It wants to take your money from you. So you got to be very diligent about where you put it. Like this one, I'm just waiting for it to come down here, and then I'm waiting for it to bounce out of that box or out of this box. So it could come down here and just keep going. And then it could come down here and then keep going. So it really just depends on when we see that reversal. So we're starting to come down to the box, but we got to get in the box. So I'm going to erase one of these lines. Actually, I'm going to erase both these lines. And then I just want to see if it can push into this box. I'll move this entry threshold down. And that'll be kind of my entry cross. And then I'll cancel this order if we cross that. Sorry, and place my second buy. And then that'll lower my average down to about here. And then we just need to get above that. And then we can reduce if we want, or we can let it ride for a larger profit. All right, so we're in the box. So this threshold is now active. So if we break over 2606, then I'll place my second buy. Actually, at this point, I'm going to cancel this order because now we've got a guarantee that I will place a second buy if it comes back up. So this target just logically wouldn't get hit if I place my second buy. Not to say I won't get hit price-wise. It won't matter because I'm going to sell most of the shares before then. All right, so far we're in this box, and there's no guarantee it's going to push back up or that it's going to be any one of these specific candles. We do have 4 in a row, potential 5th. Oh, no, we got more than that. We got a 5 candle from right here. Oh, right here, I guess. So that's the 5 candle. So we're pushing into this box, and then we're just waiting for a break of these lower highs that keeps forming every 2 minutes. So if and only if that happens, we get a break, then I place my second buy, and then I will have a lower cost basis, and then I can scale out differently. Let's see, that would be there. Yes. Okay. And of course, adding to a sub-dollar stock is always high risk. So again, this one could also go horribly wrong. The goal isn't to, win every single trade. It's to kind of minimize the loss as much as you can. And we took a bigger hit on ATXG, but that's okay. I mean, I can always build it back. But the goal, again, it's not to make you can't have a 100% win rate. So when you do have the wins, you just need to make sure that they count more than the losses. And in that case, that loss is going to count more than a couple of wins. So that just means I need more wins over time. All right, so this level here is now the entry threshold. So we're moving it down. And then if price breaks over this line at 25.49, then I'll place my second buy on this one. So I'm going to keep my mouse over here, and I'm going to keep my eyeballs fixed right there. So as soon as I see 255, then I can push the button. And I could place a buy stop order at this point if I wanted to, but I don't want the bid-ask spread to reach out and grab it until the price actually pushes over. So if I did a buy stop, I'd do like 26 cents or something, but it's a little bit less efficient to do it that way. So order book is, the time and sales has slowed down pretty significantly. We've got very low volume here. So when the volume comes back in, it should push the price up. And now we wait. So everything's done for us. We got the order out of the way. We've got all the other stuff squared away. We don't have to think. We don't have to make any new decisions. I just got to push a button when I see a pattern. All right, 25.5, so I'm in. If I can get filled. Hello? Did it push up? Okay. All right, so I got my fill. So now I don't want it going down any lower than this box here. So I've got defined risk, and again, it's sizable enough risk. We're down a good chunk today. So now my priority is to get it up here and then have the price get locked in as profit. So, and because we're down here around 27, 28 cents, the cents are going to count for more in terms of percentages, but it's going to be a little bit sketchy because we're below, we're like below 30 cents. So at this point, I would like to see a 4% candle beyond this point. So right here, I need to see a 4% candle, either this one, the next one, the next one, the next one, to the upside. And then that will tell me that the momentum algos are participating and we are likely to see the upside. Otherwise, if we see the price pull down, that just means that this strong impulse is going to continue most likely. And then I'll just take the hit because I don't want to be in it at that point. So kind of a bloody day, and we can always build it back, but can't avoid it, unfortunately. What would my new target be? So same thing, basically. It's just going to be 3 to 6% above this, and then I'll sell 75%, and I'll let the rest run. So I got my Control 2 hotkey here for that. So if I wanted to make it super mechanical here, 27.84 plus 6% is going to be 29.51. That's going to be my my ideal target, but I'll have to see if that's how the price is going to behave as it approaches that. It might just go down. And then for my 2784 plus 3%, so 3% target is going to be 28.67. So that's right there. There we go. So if price is kind of weak on the way up, that's probably where I'll lock it, if it goes up at all. And then if it's strong going up, then I'll sell most of them right here. And then I'll let the rest run until we get up into the 30s. Does that make sense? Okay. And again, if you guys don't want to deal with big red numbers, one of the best things that you can do instead of, waiting and averaging down and stuff is just to cut positions when they don't go up. So like if I just place this buy here as my first buy, I'd probably be already out. Like I would put it right below the entry candle and get out, or I would just let it go down like 2 to 3% and cut it, because the goal is to get these to go up just a quick like 1.5–2% and just get out. And I don't like seeing them continue pushing down after we place an exposure. So it's also super hot in my office. I hate this. This is one of those like constant distractions. But I don't let it influence my decision making. It's just one of those things that I'm calling out because it is it's an environmental factor. Now remember, the goal here, right, with these boxes, like if I didn't want to just try to catch the volume up here, realistically, this is where I'd be placing my first buy because this is the area that led to the area that led to the big move out of that box, right? Like this would be where I'd just place my first buy. So if that's the case, we're leaving this box. We just need to see strength out of this box, and then sky's the limit, right? And that could and should, in theory, be all we trade if we're new, because we shouldn't be, trying to catch volume and stuff like that. So if that's all you want to trade and you want to take kind of the safer route, then the boxes are going to be a lot more reliable. So we'll see which way this wants to go. So are we going to get our 4% candle? Right now it's about 3.17, 3.5. There's our 4%. Okay, so at this point, right, this candle or this candle, we should see a more substantial move, because that 4% candle is the threshold that tells all the momentum algorithms that this watched ticker is in go mode. So once you see a 4% candle, you should typically see a little bit more momentum after that, especially out of these boxes. So we should be good. If not, then we know that we're seeing stuff that shouldn't be happening and we can just get out. But this is good so far. So now I'm just watching to see, again, because it could always pull back. It could pull back down at any time. So this is not a guarantee of strength. I'm just saying that right now we see strength, and we should see some algos jumping in. We do have a beautiful a beautiful wall set up here on the ask, but we got to make sure that actually gets up there and can participate with that. Otherwise, it's just fluff, right? So now my job is to assess, if it is going to move up, I need to assess the strength that it's moving up with, because if I don't see strength and I don't see aggression as it's coming up, that'll determine which target I take my profit at if it wants to go up there. Like right now, it's kind of pulling back a little bit, but I can see that the time in sales is rocking and rolling, or it was, I should say. So we should see a surge in volume here in the next 20 seconds or so. That's what we should see anyway. So that candle, the one recently, had 4.89 million. This candle is 4.3 million, so 4.6 million. So we need to see another 200K in volume in the next, I guess 8 seconds or whatever. All right, so we broke 5 million volume on this one. So we do have increasing volume. It's just not reflecting it in the price action. So that's a little bit of a red flag. So this candle here is, in theory, it should be kind of the make or break guy. We should see that big move up or down on this candle. Let me catch up on the chat here. Y'all see Tesla this morning, just so you know, started in the last week of this month. We'll be doing weekly options, blue chip live trading. You guys can all read that. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, so those, for everyone who's interested, Lee and Bull will be trading, I believe, yeah, in premium. It's premium, right, Duck? Not lifetime for that one. They're going to be doing a, on Tuesday mornings later this month, they're going to be starting a, Lee and Bull will be streaming market open, or I'm sorry. Yeah. They're going to do market open options day trades. And that'll be at the same time as these free equity stream. So you guys will have equity and options you can choose from. So I think that'll be cool. All right, let's go looking around real quick. So ATXG still just didn't come back, right? I'm not going to second guess that. EVMN. So this one just pulling down, right? That's what happens. These lose volume and that's it. There's just no coming back. EVP, same thing. And then QNCX is the only really viable candidate here besides JZXN. So that's it. We should get the fall off volume over here. I don't really see anything else other than maybe EWCZ, but that's a trash one. There's no real volume on that. It just kind of popped up and now it's barcoding. So nothing substantial on that one. And the rest of these I don't really have good volume. So the ones that have good volume, like QNCX, it's got 442 million volume on a 14.5 million market cap. You know, it's a low market cap relative because it's a 26-cent stock, but that volume is insane compared to, you know, like PHIO's got 104 million and it's just kind of gone down and flat. So I like being in QNCX. I think we have much more potential in this one. JZXN is just a Chinese popper, 20 million volume, 3.5 million market cap. It's in a good price range, so I do like that. But I think that volume is probably going to die off pretty quickly, and then that volume should come over back into QNCX. So we'll see what we get. Couldn't find the chat. I'm slow. No, I was talking about overtime, doing 70. Oh man, that's a lot of work, man. I remember I was working at Cisco when I lived in Oklahoma, and they didn't cap my overtime at all, so I was just working like 7-8 hours a week. I was delirious. It was awesome though. Small gains in NVIDIA puts up $84 so far today, being very cautious. Yeah, it's a weird day. It definitely bit me a little bit today because the ATXG trade. So, but it's okay. You're being cautious. That's awesome. I love it. It's always safer to just be a little bit risk off when you're not confident. I feel like Mr. Beast job clock challenge. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Well, hopefully you're able to save, and hopefully you're not just giving too much of that to the government. Because the more you work, the more the government makes off of you. So it's good and also bad. But a small call position on the VIX. Oh boy. Okay. You're a brave soul. All right. So we're just hanging out, waiting for this one to get backed up to our break even. This is QNCX. JZXN is starting to pull down a little bit. It's kind of, I don't want to say range bound, but it's just kind of chopping in this guy. So if I draw a range right here that it needs to break out of, you kind of see that it's got to make its mind up, right? It's just kind of puttering around here. ATXG still pulling down. We get a little bit of a chop coming here on QNCX. I like this ask wall, and I like that it's high. And I like that we've got a further wall here at 29 cents. But we don't have anything on the bid that I see. I see a couple subdued walls here, but there's just not good, strong volume. So we're seeing a lot of bid fills. I want to see a bunch of ask fills. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, so they're trying to flutter it back up, and then it just gets chopped back down. So someone's pushing this down. So basically what's happening here is we're seeing two algos, and one is just controlling it. So we need other algos to jump in and kind of shake it up a little bit so that we can get over this little kind of chop zone here. And once we do that, we've got some big, big, beautiful walls here that we can blast up over. What I don't want is H-shaped continuation, though. I don't want this to pull up and then pull back down and kind of bounce a little bit and then form a new low, because that's what like every single one of these is doing today. So I would like to see this box here get defended, and I would like to see the volume pull up before it gets back down there, because I don't want that to bite us as well. So bites happen, but we don't want to have too many of them back to back. Yeah, it's a choppy day. That's kind of why I hate dealing with these little sub-dollar garbage guys. I like the volume and I like the momentum, but I don't like it when they don't have volume. 26.5 fair value gap. Are you referring to this fair value gap? Or are you referring to this fair value gap? Or are you referring to this fair value gap? Or are you referring to this fair value gap? There's a theme here. Oops, I just erased my line. There we go. Bum, bum, bam, bam, bam. I mean, there's fair value gaps everywhere. They are one of the most misunderstood concepts in the market. We don't, contrary to popular belief, we don't want to trade the middle of fair value gaps. Like, you don't want to trade the gap itself for entries. You want to really look at what forms them, because you want the same price action that formed the fair value gap to happen to your money, right? So it makes sense to look at where the fair value gap came from. And that's how I draw these boxes. So rather than, like, if you draw this to there, right, rather than drawing this fair value gap, draw the candle that formed it. And then that is a much stronger range in cases, right? Then you want to add another layer to it. Like this guy down here, you want to look back in history here and see if it's been reacted to before. But a lot of people just, you know, they see a fair value gap and then they use those for reversals, and that doesn't always work out. It doesn't price mostly return to fill. No, not necessarily. That's a kind of an urban legend. Gaps don't always fill. That is, it's another one of those things that, like, you'll see all over the place on YouTube, but then when you sit down with the chart and actually look at it, it doesn't line up. And the reason for that is because of what a fair value gap is. It's a disparity in pressure on the ask side, and it's usually caused by institutional pressure, and they don't want the price to come back down. So they're going to hold it up on the next level, the next institutional level, until, I mean, you can say that gaps fill, you know, but it might take like 10 years. So, you know, it's kind of one of those things about saying, you know, it's going to be a full moon eventually, right? Like, you're going to be right at some point, but it's not because of any specific market mechanism. All right, so we're back up around our break even. And I kind of like this strength, so I may look for a higher target on this one because it's just pushing straight up, and that's what we like. I like to see the volume return. Time it sales is cooking. We're up 3.5% right here, so that'd be a good opportunity for anyone who's not super comfortable with risk to lock in those profits nice and early. And again, if I didn't trade this volume here, this would have been the only entry for the day out of the box. And that would have washed away a lot of that drawdown that we had on that position. All right, so we're tapping our second target here. We're about 6% up, so that would be an easy take profit on that one. I don't think this candle will halt. It's only 9%, 7, 8, 9% now. But I do like the strength and I like the volume, so I'll continue holding, but you don't have to keep your positions open that long. So if you want to trade these morning setups a lot more safely, You're not going to want to get in on the volume pops like I do. You just want to look at the boxes and just keep it nice and simple. So we're up about easy peasy on that one. Like this one right here, I like this too, PHIO. It just needs to sustain the volume. Like we got a lot of good volume here, but it needs to sustain because it's a good show of strength here. You got increasing volume, big candle, you broke over local highs. This one should be going a lot higher, but it's not. So it's just one of those days where the volume is so inconsistent. But it's very, very clean here. If you did take your entry there, you would have had your 3 to 6% in that case, and you'd already be out. So that's easy entry on that one. This one here, you just watch the price come down and then bounce. Another good clean opportunity there. This one went box to box, and then you went up your percentage there. ATXG is the one that just bit me. And that's okay. Oh, all right. So it looks like we're up here. I really like this strength, so I'm going to make a judgment call here and continue holding. Obviously, I'm not going to let it come all the way back down, but that is a lot of strength there. So I'm going to just let that go, see where it wants to go. Yeah, so looking at ATXG, this one just never came back. And that's why we cut those. We don't want to second guess ourselves. Even if it is a big hit, we had to take a good chunk off of that one. There's no point in hoping it comes back because a lot of times these don't. So I'm just going to take the one that's going in the direction that makes me money and let that one run a little bit more. Let me catch up on the chat. Bulls in QNCX at 26 cents, stop loss 24. Good stuff, man. Yeah, I averaged mine down. The orthodox Pookie buy would have been down here at 25.49, but I traded some of the volume entry up above. So I added down. Bum, 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 bum. Good stuff, man. You moved your stops up. Beautiful. I love it. Love it. I love it. All right, so it's kind of stagnating a little bit, which is good for me, right? Because I want there to be some stability to the move. And we shall continue onward. Just peek at PHIO, because this one's interesting. I do like this one. Again, it just needs volume. It's got, like, you see how it's like up and down. It's got these peaks and valleys here. I like to call it like the Excite Bike track. If this volume can plateau here, say like here, like if we can get an average of like 2 million volume on these 2-minute candles at some point in the future, then this one has a lot of potential to just blast to a new high. But until then, it's going to be sketchy town. So, but it's got a lot of potential here. This is worth watching pretty closely. Not necessarily trading, but it's worth watching. I do like the potential here. And you can see they're trying to do a heartbeat with high consolidation. So I'd say like anything over this, for example, might be worth a quick, not a trade again, just a quick watch. Because if you want to scalp, that's kind of your bread and butter right there, is that little heartbeat and then pop over. MP23, you're up. You followed me and you're up 2.3%, or you followed Bull? Either way, 2.3% is good. Are you running away for the day? You locking it up? Taking that bird in the hand and walking away? Bull's all out of QNCX for decent profit, easy money. Good stuff. So you're happy? That's good. Absolutely, man. Good stuff, dude. You feeling confident? You're not feeling FOMO or any of that stuff? It's okay if you are. Just that's what, like, once you figure out how to just take profits, like that's the biggest challenge, is just learning how to be comfortable with them. It's always the hardest part, is just saying, oh, this is good enough. Oh, I got to look at this, I suppose. All right, so we got a little pullback there. So we'll see where it goes. I'm just looking at the chat more than anything. Trading is very important, I feel, because otherwise it's just day holding. Absolutely. Yeah, you gotta manage that risk. Like, that's the big part. MP239, no, I feel good. It's nice to learn that this is a patience game. At first I thought all this happened in like 5 minutes or something. Some days it does. Like, some days we're just in and out. Like yesterday, I had an order. It didn't even show up on the position until after the order was already filled for the exit. It was a market buy at 6%. It was just blasting. It was UOKA. I'll pull that one up here so you can see it. And that was a volume trade. So the volume trades tend to pop and they move really quickly. The box trades are always going to be slower. They're always going to be safer. But the volume blasts like this, those are the ones that it's super quick in and out. And that's, of course, where you make the fastest profits, but you can also hurt yourself. So if you don't want to deal with the redness, then you don't take those trades. You just take the box trades or things that make sense, that have structure behind them. And that's it. But no, and so when like volume drives everything. So when volume is ebbing, when there's a lack of volume, you kind of have to be patient. Yeah, it doesn't mean hold stuff all the way down. It just means that that's not the time to anticipate and move things early and things like that. You really just want to have clean decisions made ahead of time, and then you want to follow the reality of what happens rather than just kind of trying to get ahead of stuff because you think something might be pushing and pulling. So we got a pretty decent move here on QNCX so far. Now, Webull likes to show these little artifacts up here. The candle wasn't up here, the candle body, but we did see some orders come through very, very quickly on the time and sales up to like 33 cents. So you got to be careful when it comes to Webull as well, because it gets a little sketchy when they do that. Usually it's a precursor to a bigger move, but you can't guarantee that's going to happen on every ticker when you see that. So we're up about 12.5%, 13%. Now it's about 12%. So we're in wick territory. It's always a good opportunity to just lock stuff up. If you're ever not sure, I still like the confident strength here. So I'm going to draw a box right here. And we're going to see how it responds to this box right here. Now, most new highs fail. So I'm saying that now so that anyone who's not confident can lock those profits, right? I'm not telling you what to do. I can't tell you what to do. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to continue holding because I like this strength. But if you're not confident and you don't want to see those profits potentially disappear, now's a good opportunity to consider selling so you get that risk off the table, or at least reduce the position size so that you're not holding a full position up through an area of contention. Okay, I want to be very clear about that. Like, this could very easily just come back down and then I take a little bit of drawdown on it, or pullback, I guess. Trading 212 shows wicks up or down 100 to 200%, 3 seconds back to where it was. Yeah, some of these brokers get funky. I just know Webull likes to let the price be dragged by the wick sometimes. Just like if you switch over to Heikin-Ashi candles, sometimes you'll see, I mean, just the way Heikin-Ashi candles form, I can't talk today. Because the bodies are based on averages, you always see the wick poke out first. But sometimes it likes to do that on the regular candle type as well. So it's kind of weird. All right. So you see that, I don't know if you guys saw that, but the time and sales just like stopped. Everyone is like, wait, who's going to go first? So now we can see that there's a little bit of a reaction so far. So now we can see if this reaction gets bought up. So we're looking for a reaction to the reaction, and then for that to push potentially through the box. So if we get a buy up here, that's usually a good sign of strength. And then those red to green candles have the best potential for the stronger pops up through the high of the previous candle. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly, Doc. This is like inconsequential for me. So if this is all you have A, I hope you're not putting all your money into the market, but B, if you do want to trade more conservatively and protect your money, there's nothing wrong with just locking profits while they're there. Don't blindly hold and don't hope and don't follow anyone else. Make your own decisions. Just lock those profits when they're there. It's like the Squid Game glass tile jump. Yeah, it can be. But all this can also be very simple too, because I can just set up a bracket order where I have like a 1% stop loss, 3% take profit on every trade I take. And I could just push this button over and over and over again and walk away with a defined outcome, right? So if you want to make trading very simple and very easy, and then you're just left with your emotional response to whatever is happening after you push those buttons, that's a very easy way to do it because you're automating 90% of it. But most people don't like that because it takes control out of there, and then your identity struggles to relinquish control over to that automation because you want to make things happen. So if you don't want to struggle with trying to pick your levels, then you can always just set up brackets and let the computer do most of the work for you. That's a really good way to just focus on your emotional stuff and your psychology. Because worst case scenario is you take a 1% loss, right? Yeah, exactly, Doc. And the goal isn't to copy any of us. I don't want anybody copying anybody, ever. I want you guys to see what we're doing, have us explain why we're doing it, ask questions, and then if the answers make sense and they hold up under scrutiny, then you can collect data using the same stuff to see if it makes sense for you. And then you can gradually incorporate risk on your end after you've proven to yourself that it's something you can do. Did I see the news article? No, I haven't. Was that posted in the Discord? I didn't really get a chance to look around too much this morning. Oh, someone ran need your sign. Oh, no. I missed that in the chat. Oh, no. That sucks, man. Well, I hope everyone's okay first. And then second, I hope insurance is cool about that. Oh my God, look at that nasty sell-off. 91% sell-off. 91.5% in one day. That is ugly. Let's look at that day. Whew. We're just catching a little bounce on that. A little gap. What happened there? Oh, okay. Yeah, that'll do it. They cut one of their therapies. I don't know anything about this company or their pipeline. I don't really care to, but it's just funny to see big moves like that. Do they have anything? I'm going to look at that real quick in another tab. That's crazy. QNCX, where's their website? Where's their website? I guess sorry, I'm looking over here on my other tab. Sorry. Okay, it's therapeutics. Where's their pipeline? So right now, I just kind of want to see what other treatments they might have in development. Not for any real reason. I'm just curious. And then which one did they end? All right, St. Doug, it's good to hang out, buddy. Hope you have a good day. We'll take care of yourself there, sir. Sorry, I'm just looking over here. I'm going to put this side by side so you guys can see it as well. So this is their drug pipeline on their site. Also, let me just open their news to see which one they canceled. Well, they didn't even put the news on their site. Oh, they are going to get in trouble. So they, okay. Man, this company's horrible. So they ended their treatment. They cut one of their drug therapies. Let's pull it up on Yahoo Finance here. That was the other day. What date was that? It was January 29th. Okay. So have they posted any news on their site since then? They have. So February 9th, they updated their stuff. Oh, maybe it's in here. Did not achieve statistical significance, blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay. So they did say that they ceased clinical development. Okay. I was going to say, if they didn't announce that on their site, they are in so much trouble. Okay. Interesting. I always like to take a look at that stuff because it's, sometimes they'll post like a clarification, especially when there's a lot of volatility on their stock. And that can obviously cause craziness in the market. All right, MP, take care of yourself. Have fun. Hopefully you have a good day. Glad you're able to walk away with your profit and just run for the hills. Not sure what happened yet. Everyone was fine. Okay, that's good stuff, man. Man, was it like a is that a big sign on a post, or is it like an embedded, like a raised bed kind of sign? Both? Oh man. Well, hopefully there's no other property damage, you know. All right, let me just pop around here really quick and see what's going on elsewhere in the market. We got JZXN is flirting around with this box. Hey, can't break through it yet. PHIO, same thing. It just really can't break away just yet. NVN, EWCZ. Yeah, a lot of these are just kind of, it's just not a good, strong day in the market. A lot of weirdness out there. ATXG is still down as well. ABP down. Man, what an ugly day. Oh, they're going up a snow. Okay, so there's something to at least temper that speed a little bit. That's good. Yes. Ooh. Sorry, I gotta get a new chair. Yeah, Duck, that's a good point too. I mean, any amount of money, right? It doesn't really matter. It's not like a relative thing. Because everyone's different. So just when it comes to any money in the market, you have to make sure that you manage your emotions and you have to be aware. And that's why, just collect data first. You're not like, don't just jump into the market with the intention of making millions of dollars. It's not going to happen. So you have to focus on collecting data and, most importantly, building a profile about yourself so that you understand how you respond to things, because that's the only way you're going to make progress in the market. It's not learning a strategy. It's not using a certain indicator. It's learning how you respond so that you can mitigate your own risk when it comes to your decision making. And if you can't do that, you're just going to run into the same walls over and over. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to end up just burning out. It's not fun. So just don't do it to yourself. We'll probably have to cut the live stream portion of this off at some point pretty soon. I have a thing I got to deal with. I'm going to hang out with you guys here in the Discord, and I'll keep the live stream up for a little while longer, but I don't want to go too much later in the morning on socials because I got to do development stuff in any of my other monitor, unfortunately. But for now, I'm hanging out with you guys. Exactly. Yeah. The first thing we should do is learn about our emotions, risk, and identity, and most people just don't. All right, Bull. Take care of yourself, man. Hope you have a good one. Enjoy your day. Oh, what's up, the doctor? Now we're just hanging out with QNCX so far. Got bit pretty hard by ATXG, but decided to cut it. And then we're just watching QNCX to see if it can push through that box. Bam, bam, bam. Are you said you're all done for the day, right, Doctor? You got your profit on M2K? All right, looks like we're seeing a little bit more strength here so far on QNCX, but it's gotta maintain that strength. Working with Cloud on your website. All right, good stuff. What's your base on that site? Are you like building it from scratch with like Vue or any of that, using like Tailwind, React, any of that? Or are you using a platform like WordPress or Wix or something? All right, we just breached the box again a little bit, a little tiny pinprick, but we gotta, there we go, a little more push into it. I would like to see it push over those wicks. Let me erase these vertical lines as well so we don't confuse our skyline here. Because I just want to see the strength as it develops. I don't want to have vertical lines kind of skewing the data there. Those were kind of to identify when the potential pushes would happen. You have Wix right now, but it's clunky. Your app is React, but you're testing it out from scratch completely. Good stuff, man. Are you going to host it on Vercel temporarily so we can see it? I'm interested. Send it to my DM. Oh, okay, cool. I didn't see it, I don't believe. Oh, there's your DM. Look at that. 2 DMs. Damn, my bad. I hate Discord. Like, I want to show you guys. Like, I promise I'm not ignoring you guys. But if you look at my my thing here, you can see the only DM that I see right now is Lee, and that's the Rest to Retire article he sent me last night. And that's it. Like, I assume that's what it is. I haven't checked the DM yet, obviously, but that's the only DM I've seen. Other than, I think I got one this morning that Nikki. I looked at Nikki's and Neil, and that's it. So I promise I'm not ignoring you guys. I just straight up don't see these. Except Snowflake. I'll ignore him. I think I have him blocked. Yeah, exactly, Nikki. I know who not to ignore. I can't get away with it. All right, so right now we're starting to see a changeover of possession. I don't know if you guys saw that, but the price pushed up into the box. We saw a little bit of contention here, and we started to see a gradual push down. Like there's a specific, I'll come up with a good way to describe it. But if you look at this box, you can see it just kind of does this, like it just kind of chops down, and then it chops back up. But like little chops, like little gradual guys. And then we just saw 1, 2, 3 big buys to the upside. So as long as we can stay in this box or push over like these wicks right here, we should be good for a bigger pop. It's usually what that means is that another algo is consuming a smaller one, which means that we may have our institutional support fella from down here. He might be wanting to push it through this box, which is kind of what I want to happen. But we'll have to see. Because remember that we still failed the new high, so we haven't broken out yet. So we got to get over 33.70 if we want that to push. And until that happens, the other guy's got control. So I want to see this get bought up. I want to see a bunch of aggression on the ask and not the bid. So think of price like a battering ram, and it's just got to keep pushing farther and farther in with more and more aggression each time. peek around here and see what else we got going on. So PHIO had that nice little pop out of the box. Nothing else since then. EVMN flat, it's dead on volume. ABP fell down flat on volume. ATXG fell down hard, flat on volume. What else is on the list here? JZXN pulling down, it's flat. I can't get through the box. And then that's it, really. There's nothing else in the top range here. So we're still in the #1 candidate here. Still the top of the list. It's got 581 million volume for the day. That's a nice low price. It's got a nice low float. I think we're in a good position for when the volume does come back in. But it seems like there's just an overall lack of volume. And the volume we have gotten has been highly contentious and not directional. So we shall see. Yeah, AustinonAI.com. Oh no. I like AI development for proof of concept. I don't like it as a finished product. I don't believe that AI is competent enough at this time to ensure things like data privacy, and I don't think it does sanity tests that a human developer would to make sure that things are fully compliant and stable. I think it's very good at producing syntax and fleshing out ideas, but I think it's only a matter of time before somebody gets absolutely nailed in court over an AI built site. So I like it for hobbies and for learning projects. I just don't think it should be in businesses. I just don't want to see anyone get hurt. So basically anything that doesn't involve sensitive data, I think other than that, go nuts. There's no real risk there. But as soon as you get into the personal data or financial data or anything like that, you're going to want a human. Anything transactional, anything that involves something that could land you in court. It's going to be super sketchy. Doctor says, no, it's not. I wish I understood more about coding so I could do it myself or tweak it better, but yeah, I'm cautious and do not want to link it to my computer for tasks and have it linked online. That's understandable. It's good for controlled things. I think like Duck always mentions having it go through a folder and organize things for you. I think that's pretty reasonable. I definitely wouldn't want it sending emails to me or canceling my alarms or any of the other stuff. There's too much liability there. And there's just stuff it can't handle. If you, let's say you have it set up to do a bunch of stuff and then you just get in a car accident while you're away from home, it's going to keep doing things, right? And then if that causes some sort of disparity, or if you get arrested, or if you just come home late, for example, and it's just handling these things for you, it's got potential to get pretty ugly there. Likewise, if it just contradicts you, then you've got some challenges there as well. All right, looks like we're pulling down a little bit. We got increasing volume from candle to candle, so I'm not too concerned with that. Let me erase these lines though, because we've got a box right there that we can draw. Now this is a pretty big box. I don't really like that one. I like this. I like that one a lot. This one's transitory. Let me make that orange and dashed. And we'll see what we got. Let me catch up on the chat. There's a story where a guy linked up to his bank or card. Oh no. And it bought $3,000 marketing course. Oh, that's horrible. I don't know if that's real, but I could see it happening. That happens with Amazon and Alexa already. Kids are buying stuff without their parents' permission. And they know how to override the controls. And what was that thing with I don't know if it was real or not, but there was a parrot that was ordering stuff while the owner was away. I don't think I would ever want AI connected to anything related to my bank account or my credit cards. It's just not there yet. None for me, thanks. Start stashing in the mattress. Oh no. kid bought $200 of virtual fish food for his $200 virtual tank. Oh no. Oh, that's rough. The kids do that with the Roblox stuff, but we make sure that they know how to earn their own Robux. We definitely don't let anything go unlimited there. That is crazy though. The wife likes to buy skins for video games, and we're just completely opposite in that regard. Like, I don't care what my character looks like if I can play them well. That's all I care about. If it's fun to play. And I'm always in first person view anyway, so I don't see what my character looks like. Is my money attached to said purchase? Yeah, that's not fun. Well, the fish ate good, and that's all that matters. The virtual fish. All right, well, we're waiting for this to play out. It's almost 11. I'm going to cut off the social media side of this. I'll hang out with you guys here in the Discord. But I gotta get my browser back so I can focus on stuff over there. So thank you all who are watching there. I put the link in the chat for anyone who wants to join the server. You guys are free to jump in there. We are offering a 50% discount on your first month of premium if you're a new member. I encourage everyone to take advantage of that. If you're, sorry, I gotta type the link in there. 50. So if you use the code NEW50 on your sign up for the monthly premium, you get a 50% discount. The reason we used to offer a 5-day free trial, but it's just too short a time, and there's so many moving parts in premium that it can be difficult to kind of absorb it all and to get the education and to show up for multiple live streams. Everyone's busy, so we decided rather than doing that, we'll just offer a discount, a sizable discount to get the price down nice and low for that first month, and then you have 4 full weeks of it. So you get a little bit more exposure. So if and when you're ready, you get a nice fat discount as long as we're able to offer it. And then until then, I'll see you guys on the free side. So hop into the Discord. I'll be there. I'm going to let this ideally play out, but I'll have to cut that off as well. But I got to get off the social medias here. So thanks for watching.